Hello everybody and welcome back to RainBro Crafts. My name is Colton and today I will be making for you a soap called Agave Bloom. This soap is scented with Emerald Agave Bloom from Bramble Berry, and it is a must-have if you love those cool floral notes from like a cactus bloom or something along those lines. This soap smells kind of similar to our Cactus Breeze candle that we've had in our candle lineup for years now, so stay tuned and watch us make this Agave Bloom soap. Alrighty, let's get this Emerald Agave soap making started. So you will notice that I started this video with some green mica already in the oil blend that we always use, and I also had blended in some colloidal oatmeal as well. We will blitz that up and then I will add in our fragrance oil. Once that has come to a light trace, this is Emerald Agave from Bramble Berry, and it has notes of sea moss, melon, agave, passion flower. It is a nice kind of tropical scented soap and we really enjoy it. Like I mentioned in the introduction, it kind of smells like the Cactus Breeze soap that we make currently, which is one of our more springy scented candles. To kind of reference that springiness, I decided to use a kind of custom greenish blend of colorant for that bright green color. That is Enchantment Mica from Nurture Handmade. And then for the one that I'm blending up now, I am using Savage Garden from Nurture Handmade as well. So this is a very Nurture Handmade centric colored soap bar, but the fragrance oil is from Bramble Berry. For the design of this, I was inspired by the sharp leaves of an agave plant, and I'll put a picture up in one of the corners here if you're not familiar with what an agave plant looks like. But they're very spiky because they're succulent, and I wanted to also reference the kind of cool bluish color of an agave plant as well, but with some of that like bright green mica. I am now dusting on a custom blend of a couple different shift micas. This is a blue shift mica, and then I also put in some gold shift mica as well to kind of also reference the like sunny nature of where a agave plant grows. I am just doing a nice light dusting of this mica, and I am hoping while I'm making this that you will be able to see a nice thin mica line, but I'm going to do a hanger swirl as well, so I'm hoping it remains behind. But you'll have to stay tuned to the cutting portion of this video to see that. I am now going to let the soap set up for a little bit and then pour over the other half of the soap batter. This is that Savage Garden colored soap base, and I added in the same fragrance oil and all that stuff. I did start pouring this a little early, so you might have seen a little bit of like a boo-boo there before I started pouring. I saw that it was kind of sinking down, so I stopped. I let it set up for a little bit longer, and now I'm being kind of careful to pour over my scraper there so that I get a nice level line. While I am doing a hanger swirl, I still don't want it to be bowed down, which is what happens when you pour over a soap base that is not set up enough to do a nice, clean, crisp line. This fragrance oil behaved really nicely. It, like most all Brambleberry scents, retained its fragrance really well. It didn't accelerate, it didn't rise. This is pretty far along in terms of time in the soaping process, so it's looking a little chunky here, but that is because it took a long time for that bottom green layer to set up to the point that I was comfortable to pour a top layer over. So nothing to do with the fragrance oil at all. This is probably my favorite of the flowery scented soaps that we have made this month. I really am enjoying the Trailhead soap, and I'll put a card up in the corner here so you can see that video if you haven't already watched it. And I also am really liking that Fire Blossom Fire Tree scented soap that we posted on Tuesday. And again, I'll put a card up in the corner if you didn't watch that one, because there's a weird upload thing with getting that posted on time for whatever reason. But those are the two I'm using right now, kind of in tandem in the shower. For the hanger swirl, I am wanting to, like I said, reference the sharp pointiness of an agave plant. So I am going up and down a couple times, not swirling, not doing anything like that, hoping to get a nice kind of vertical point from the green to that like bluish green color there. I do think if I had a little bit wider of a hanger swirl tool, you wouldn't need to do as many of this like sawing motion to get the effect that I was going for. But again, you're going to have to stay tuned to see the cutting of this. And then for the top design, I kind of in my normal fashion wasn't 100% sure of what I was wanting to do. You can see here, if you've watched our videos for a little while, it looks like I'm going to do a feathering design. And I, didn't portion out the correct amount of soap batter, so I had too much to do a feathering design. Also, I had just done a similar kind of top design for the Fire Tree soap, and I also did a similar kind of feathering technique on the Lilac soap that we are going to post that video on Tuesday. It's the final soap in our collection here. So I didn't want to copy those, so I am kind of working on the fly here to figure out what the top design is that I'm going to do. And you can see that I kind of am just like throwing caution to the wind here, not PPE, just caution, and pouring the soap batter over the whole top of the soap. I am gonna do a top design that I haven't ever done before. Not sure that I'll do it again, but this was kind of just an experiment to see what was going on, and I accidentally dropped my scraper there. I'm doing kind of like a plaster technique where they like smear the plaster over the wall. So pretty like rough and rustic and kind of painterly, but in a very intentional way. That's kind of counterintuitive, if that makes sense though. To kind of reference like when I'm imagining like an agave farm, it's somewhere in a desert, maybe like in Mexico, with like a stucco house or a clay kind of house, like exterior material. So it's a little like shmeary, and you can see the like trowel marks from when they were laying the outside cover of the house. That was the inspiration for this. I know that's kind of a tangent, but sometimes when you're designing soap, or really any kind of crafting projects for that matter, your brain sometimes takes you on a tangent. And then to harken back to the mica line that I did on the inside, I'm just going in with the remainder of that custom blend of mica that I did. I'm doing a really light dusting, and then I will spritz this with some rubbing alcohol. I did make quite a mess while I was doing this, so I'm going to clean up the soap mold as well, being very careful to not drop my towel into the soap there, because that would ruin things. We'll tuck this away for 24 hours, and then it is time to unmold and slice up. And the thing I love about this specific fragrance oil, besides just the fragrance, is it did not discolor the soap batter at all, which is amazing. And it didn't accelerate, which I know I mentioned earlier, but for a kind of floral forward fragrance, say that 5 times fast, usually those accelerate, especially the kind of sweeter they are, the more florally they are, the more they like to kick that soap batter into gear, and it did not do that. So you had plenty of time to play with the design, do fun things, and now it is the moment that we've all been waiting for, and that is exactly what I was going for. I am so happy with this soap design here. It kind of color-wise is giving a little bit of like Seattle Seahawks, which was not intentional, but I would be willing to bet that a couple people at markets are going to ask if this was inspired by the Seattle Seahawks. We are in Washington State, so that does make sense, but it definitely was not inspired by that. I cannot wait for this soap and for all of our other Wildflower collection to launch May 1st, because I really think it is getting us in the mood for springtime. The designs, the colors, the fragrances. It also helps that the weather, at least in Washington State where we are, is beautiful right now, and it is warming up and things are growing and sprouting, and that is it. This is our Agave Bloom soap, which will be for sale starting May 1st online and in person, so snag yours while you can. Thank you so much to our subscribers. They get soaps, candles, bath bombs each and every month from us, depending on their tier that they have selected. They also get shout outs at the end of the videos, which is what all of these fine people are getting. Huge shout outs from us. We really appreciate their support, and to show that, we send them goodies each and every month. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video. Comment down below your favorite Wildflower, because no one's done that yet. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and ring that bell icon so you get notified when we release new videos. Thanks. Bye.